Hey Maria, back with another video. It's 7:28 right now, Friday evening, and I am glad to say that I did absolutely nothing today. I mean, absolutely nothing. I stayed in bed pretty much the entire day. I did get up, I made some lunch, and as a matter of fact, I believe I ate lunch in bed. I did eat lunch in bed. This is very unusual for me, okay? But I had no energy today, and it's kind of funny because well, I'm a day person. I am. I'm the kind of person I'm rise and shine. I mean, like out of bed, I'm ready to go 6 o'clock in the morning because of all of this. It's really switched me around, which I can say I'm not happy about. Okay, I like being a morning person. I like seeing the sunrise. I like, sometimes I don't really drink coffee anymore, but every once in a while it's nice to have coffee, or just do the little morning things, get my laundry together or whatever. Like I dig into my house chores like when I get up in the morning. But anyway, I was thinking today about, being your own leader, and I consider myself my own leader. I'm not a leader, I'm not a follower. I'm just somebody who is more solitary in action and movement. And I think this has been a good benefit to me because growing up, I was kind of like the silent observer, and I would, observe people and the behavior, and I noticed there was a consistent pattern, and through the years, I would research, certain behavior traits and found out there was names for them, relating to psychology, and I know people pretty well. I mean, I do, and it's almost freaky to some people because I'll stand next to a person, I'll say, look, this person's going to do this, and sure enough, they'll do shit like that. um, I'm I'm good at that. You know what I mean? And I guess it's only maybe it's survival, or maybe it started off as boredom as a kid. I don't know, but it's been a benefit to me, and I'm very grateful for that. It's not for everybody, okay, but for this one person who happens to be an American citizen who has the right to be her own leader, it's good for me, and I like that because when you're your own leader, you set your own standards, you set your own way of living, and I was thinking today about I don't know if you guys ever watched old cartoons. I love cartoons, okay, and before people start rolling their eyes and saying, oh, you're doing that kid stuff again, I'm going to tell you that cartoons were originally made for adults, okay. Cartoons were actually designed to put across like political ideas, talk about political issues, and then also sometimes they were used to promote propaganda. Okay, so when people say things like, "Well, cartoons are for kids," that's bullshit because the original purpose of them was geared towards adults. And so I was thinking about. I don't know if you guys ever watched any of those old Tom and Jerry cartoons, but some of them were actually kind of deep when you think about it. There was this one, I cannot think of the name of it, but it was one where they there was no sound to it. It was all done. They did a few of those where I think they were like done in the 1950s or something, maybe mid 50s or something like that. But anyway, it was about how I call it the sickness, okay? And what the sickness is basically when like people's mode or their behavior changes, turns against you, you know what I mean? Or they become your enemy almost instantly. And in this particular cartoon, and I keep looking for this cartoon. I cannot remember the name of it, okay? But in this cartoon, it was illustrated in a way where I could relate to some of the things that happened to me when I was a kid, like, the weird behavior of people just kind of switching modes on you and weird stuff like that. And there's a lot to be learned, and you can learn from cartoons. Now, some of the newer cartoons, you got to watch some of them, okay? Because you're putting your kid in front of these cartoons, these TV shows, and I have to say, some of the TV shows like on Nickelodeon. I used to watch Nickelodeon with my son. I was a big SpongeBob SquarePants fan. I used to watch it with my son and just laugh my ass off, when I watched it. And I used to like Rugrats, and I used to like, what was the other one they had on Nickelodeon? Doug. I used to like that show, and oh God, there was a bunch of them back in the 90s, okay, that I actually really enjoyed. Hey Arnold, okay, that was one of my favorite cartoons back in the 90s, okay? I loved watching that cartoon. But you notice, like, there's a lot of things that get said on those cartoons that go over the kid's head. Like, some of them actually have, um, I don't know, some of them have more adult content, more things that only somebody who is an adult would understand, okay? And unfortunately, a lot of them do have sexual, what do you call it? Connotations, or they throw in a lot of they slip in a lot of that stuff in the cartoon, okay? And so obviously the writers they're adults, okay, and they're going to think like adults, okay? So that's just a warning for you. But my point is that, you know, sometimes artists, you know, illustrate things that actually happen in real life through their art, you know. And so this particular Tom and Jerry was kind of, you know, showing how people, like for example, what happened in this situation, like, you know, somebody has a fairly decent view of a person, and then, you know, they switch modes on them almost quickly. Like I said, I refer to it as a sickness because it spreads like a social cancer. So anyway, getting off the issue of cartoons, you know, which I can go on and on about cartoons because I love them. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, about being your own leader. You know, it's funny because, like, you know, I'm not a leader and I'm not a follower when it comes to people in a whole, because I like to live based on my own standards, because that's where you really, I personally feel more comfortable living, okay? You know, when I was thinking about the cartoon, or how in the cartoon, I guess they were, it was kind of showing how sometimes people try to I don't know, manipulate or change, or, you know, they turn against you, and they also want you to somehow see things from their point of view. And that's not possible. It's not, okay? Without some sort of imbalance that's going to be created, okay? Like, you might, like, for example, when I was working at Flourishing Fart, right? Isn't it nice how I, like, disguise the name, you know, Flourishing Fart, right? That's really nice of me, isn't it? Anyway, anyway, you know, there was this pressure, constant, you know, Hot Look. You got to buy clothes from Hot Look. And, you know, the thing is that, and then people get aggressive. Like, if you don't show interest in their stuff, you know, and it's like, okay. And then what would happen if a person gave in and said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start wearing things that I don't particularly like, I'm not drawn to, doesn't do anything for me, I feel completely uncomfortable in it, it's just not me. And when you look in the mirror, you look like something you can't recognize. It's not you. You know what I mean? You have a responsibility to yourself to be the person you're supposed to be. You know what I mean? And so I don't compromise myself on that level. And I don't think anybody else should either. That's why, you know, sometimes friendships or frenemies can be, you know, a destructive part of your life. You know what I mean? Because when you have so-called friends like that, I consider those people to be needy, okay? They don't have any confidence in themselves, so they want to, you know, make you endorse their way of living, or their way of, or their particular likes or whatever preferences, so that makes them feel better. Or maybe they feel like, well, you'll be more accepted by us if you do this, this, and this. And here's my opinion on that. Guess what? If that's what you want, then go find that kind of person. You know what I mean? Because I'm not going to sit here and do something that is against my personal standard, my beliefs, or it goes against me. You know what I mean? Because I have compromised myself in the past, and it's of no benefit. I've only felt, you know, like that imbalance that I mentioned. I only felt like, you know, somehow or another, this isn't who I am, and I'm putting up with bullshit to be around people that don't really enjoy who you are. You know what I mean? So, you know, yeah, I have different tastes. You know what I mean? And that's who I am. You know, I wouldn't, I mean, don't get me wrong, I do buy new clothes every once in a while, okay? It depends on what's in the store, okay? But, you know, I really do. I enjoy going to thrift stores. If I was a millionaire, I would still go to thrift stores, okay? Mind you, I'd probably go to some that are a little bit more upscale, mind you. But I would, it's a hobby, it's a fascination of mine, and life is about indulging yourself in those sort of things, I avoid friendships, frenemies, who don't accept me for who I am. You know what I mean? I don't want to be modified, asked to, change things about myself for the approval of other people that don't like you in the first place. You know what I mean? It's like, your parents told you this lesson many years ago. You know what I mean? Be yourself. Just because someone else is doing it doesn't mean you have to. But why is it when it comes to social gatherings, all of that shit goes out the window? It doesn't make sense to me. And it's of no benefit. And I've learned this through constant, repeated patterns, And so that's why I prefer to be around people who are strong, who are confident, okay? Just because I go to the thrift store doesn't mean that the person I like can't go to, I don't know, Macy's, you know what I mean? Which I do like Macy's, okay? But my point is that, it's not about that. It's about people being comfortable with who they are and accepting themselves, and then, not trying to show weakness. That's a weakness on their part when they try to force that shit down your throat. It is, okay? Believe it or not. And I'm done with weak people. I don't want to deal with it anymore, It doesn't have any place in my life, and that's the way it is, I don't want to be around people that, want to tweak, modify, or whatever so that they can enjoy me more. Bullshit. You know what I mean? Like I said, go find another friend. It's that simple. So many people waste their time and their lives trying to please people that really, they don't deserve your friendship. They just don't, and I recognize that for what it is. But yeah, I am my own leader. I do things that I like. I buy things that I like. I surround myself with things that I like. I'm not materialistic. I'm really not. I was telling my friend today, I kept saying, if I was a millionaire, I'd probably be one of those weird women who probably died with like millions of dollars stashed in their in their mattress or something. Because, I really don't have a need to have a shitload of stuff. I don't need a bunch of shit to make me happy. I really don't. You know what I mean? Would I like more furniture? Yes, I would like some newer furniture. Only because, I feel like, well, I need to have something a little bit more presentable. You know what I mean? And something that's a little bit more, kind of nice. I would like to have some nicer furniture. I would. But, that doesn't mean that I'm going to throw away a bunch of shit that I had, because it still has some sort of sentimental attachment to me. You know what I mean? I would say that I would like new living room furniture, and I would definitely like some new bedroom furniture. I did buy some old furniture that I've been saying I'm going to redo, and I'm like, okay, well, I got to bring tools over here, and then I got to buy paint. I don't have the money to do that right now, but hopefully I can refurbish this dresser and this desk set, and hang on to that. But I would like to have new bedroom furniture and living room furniture. Of course I would. But, it's not something that, I'm not materialistic. I don't care what other people have. I see luxurious cars all the time. It doesn't make any, I've never been a car person anyway. I've never have. I will say there are some cars that are just badass. Like, some of those old muscle cars, those always turn my head. I always look at those. I'm like, God, that is such a cool car. But other than that, I don't think about things like that. I just don't. You know what I mean? But yeah, a lot of people get the sickness, you know what I mean? And you could see it in their face, you know what I mean? That little smirk that they get, and this determined look in their face, their eye. Like if you say you do something, then they almost feel like the sickness comes over them, and they want to switch modes and make you do something completely different. It doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? No one has the right to inflict their bullshit on you. You know what I mean? And that's what irritates me so much, I'm not interested in those sort of friendships, and I'm not a follower, you know what I mean? I'm somebody who coexists. Like, for example, there's certain rules that you have to abide by, like, I abide by the traffic laws, and I show common courtesy, and I, show social ethics and morals, you know what I mean? That means that, I'm not going to cut in front of an old lady in the grocery store, and I'm not going to, do things that are going to infringe on the rights of other people. You know what I mean? That's common respect. Okay, that's what you're supposed to do. But as long as you're not affecting the lives of other people, you have the right to live your life the way that you want. And because I consider myself to be somebody who has good moral standards. I really do. I mean, that's not to say that I'm an angel. It's not to say I've never done anything wrong, but like I said, I'm the kind of person I've learned from my mistakes, okay? And I try not to repeat them again. But I'm not interested in adapting to worldly standards, I have no interest in doing that. And what I mean by worldly standards is I'm referring to the loose morals, the ideas that get, shoved down our throats by, I don't know, media or, following fads or, I don't do that, I don't. Now, so there's certain things that come out and I keep thinking, okay, I want to give that a try because there might be some sort of benefit to me, okay? It might help me save time or might, those sort of things. But just because everybody else has it, I don't give a flying rip what other people have. I don't care. I don't pay attention to those sort of things. And if people were more focused and directed on their own lives, they wouldn't be so unhappy. You know what I mean? They wouldn't be. You know what I mean? I will say that my unhappiness is not a result of anything that I've done, okay? It's all external issues, okay? But, overall, I would say that I'm a content person. I am. I mean, I don't sit there and think, well, if things would be so much better if I had this, and this. I'm not like that. I'm just not. You know what I mean? A lot of the new technology, I don't even know exists. You know what I mean? So you can't sit there and desire something, you're not even aware of. You know what I mean? I don't think about those sort of things. Like maybe in the future, like I don't watch television. I don't watch it. I've stopped watching television regularly since the 90s, okay? And I've had them in the house in the past, I think maybe in the future I might get one, if I, meet other people and they come over for their own entertainment. But I can tell you when they're not there, I probably won't have it turned on. I'm just not a television person, just not. And I've had people try to shove their TV ideas down my throat. And I've seen people get angry with me because I don't watch television. And it's not that, I don't enjoy entertainment, because I do. It's just that some of the TV shows, nowadays, they make me cringe, like some of those. And if I do tune into them, I'm usually watching them for what I consider to be comedy reasons, because it's so stupid that I just want to sit back and just laugh and pick it apart, I mean, there might be some new shows that are on, I'm not going to say it's all bad, but, things like reality shows and some of those shows kind of like American Idol, where they bring on people who have all these hopes and dreams, and then they sit there and they completely enjoy this person's life's falling apart because they didn't perform as well as they wanted to. And so basically, they're taking delight in this person's failure. And I think it's a very sick way of looking at things. I really did find some of the skits on those shows, or not skits, but acts or whatever. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but it's just not my preference to watch television, So I'm not one of those people, I do think I like educational shows, I like documentaries. Documentaries are cool. Educational things are cool. And that's not to say I'm boring, because I'm not. I do like comedies, okay? I mean, I love a good comedy skit. As a matter of fact, I've always wanted to do some comedy myself, as a matter of fact. Not as a living, okay, but just as fun, get together with people and just write out scripts. I've wanted to do that for a very long time, because I like comedy. And so I do like comedy skits. It's just that, sometimes, certain humor just, to me, is just almost, it resorts to, I don't know, potty humor, or, it's not that I'm not a prude person, but sometimes when people talk about sex jokes too much, it kind of, it shows a lack of originality. I don't know. It's too predictable to me. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I think people should, that people would be happier. Not everybody, it's not for everybody, but it is for me. You know what I mean? I like setting my own standards in my own way of living. you know, and this is what I think maybe some people might have looked at me and thought, well, maybe, you know, you'd be happier. Maybe she's just, you know, so weird and she just feels like, or she doesn't know that this is what people should be doing. I understand what people are doing. Okay, I can see what people are wearing. I can see what they're doing. And believe me, I when I'm in town, there was a girl. She had this really cute striped dress on. Now, mind you, I wouldn't have worn it, only because it's not my color. But I kept thinking, damn, that is a really beautiful, dress she had on. I look at what women wear. You know what I mean? I do. I'm like, wow, you know, I love clothes, so of course I'm going to watch and see what they got, you know. But I'm not going to sit here and be force-fed bullshit. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I'm going to stretch out on my bed, and I will be back with another one tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening. Take care. Bye-bye.